In a time where I was in college, everybody was looking up to people like Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody is like, you can just create an app, you can create a website, and next thing you know, you become a billionaire and stuff like that. Money is important, is one of the most attractive part of being an entrepreneur, but to me is more towards the somebody that is being able to create something that other people could use and impact millions or billions of people.
This is Andrian.
And this is Ray. Welcome to the Talk Live podcast.
Every 2 weeks, we'll invite a new guest and
In every session, we'll dig into their life, relationships, and perspectives.
one question at a time.
Let's talk live!
Yay.
Welcome to the Talk La podcast. So this is your host Ray, and today is part 3 of the Talk La with local Malaysian stories series. And I think today I just want to thank Alden and Addie for coming, especially Alden because he just came back from his flight from Singapore, and actually I'm flying to Singapore tomorrow to kick things off with my new job. So I really appreciate Alden for taking time, and of course Addie and Alden. Yeah, and let me just give a brief introduction on why we decided to get both Addie and Alden. Yeah, so basically they are both identical twins, and these two twins are really my brothers, sort of like extended brothers. I have a brother, but throughout school, growing up, I think they've been always there for me. So that's why number one, we're gonna explore more on the brotherhood. That's part 2. Yeah, so getting ahead of myself. But part 1 is really more about their whole entrepreneurship journey, because they really went through an unconventional path in life. And what I mean by unconventional is like they really hustled a lot, because we went to the same secondary school, and then after that they basically I would say drop out, but they went to other homeschooling kind of ways, and throughout the whole journey they have to earn their own pot of wealth to actually support their education. Yeah, and then they've been really hustling. And then they stumbled upon entrepreneurship, started off their company. So that's a bit of the backstory. I'm not going to go too much details. Gonna let both Alden and Addie to actually go through and share briefly. And then after that, we can jump into what exactly we're going to discuss into. Yeah, so Alden, you can kick things off on, briefly introduce yourself, your experiences of different startups, etc.
You guys know he's Alden, I'm Addie. And question is, Alden, he's the older one because Al older, yeah.
So Alden, yeah, definitely. So I mean, there's so many things to discuss at this kind of at this point. Probably we can start when we first met, right? So I definitely met Ray in the first day of school together with Eddie.
Primary school, not secondary.
Primary school. It's so long ago. I guess the first day me and Eddie was fighting on the first day itself, and then I met this guy as well.
I can't remember when.
I think
when was it?
We can all agree that it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a very long time.
And just one thing I wanted to pick out. Yeah, so Alden calls me Ray now, but I think they all know me as Wenjie.
Yeah.
I think we all established the fact that people before my IB years, which is college days, they all will call me Wenjie. But I think just pointing out that that's how adaptable they are as entrepreneurs.
Oh, if it's Wenjie, definitely, because my name was Chi Wen, Eddie is Chi Jet, so Wenjie, definitely. So seriously, are real brothers, Eddie. Third brother. Yeah. Well, that's a small snapshot of us knowing each other for a very, very long time as well. Though our path changed slightly as we grow up, but definitely our heart still stays the same. Yeah. And this Wenjie, Ray, or maybe Malai or legend in the future is definitely really a legend today.
You guys are
as
too
well.
kind,
Yeah. So, you want to talk about how we start our businesses and why we took entrepreneurship. This is the part where we decided why we...
I also want to know from your point of view, why entrepreneurship?
Me, myself?
Yes, yourself.
Okay. Well, honestly, when I think about doing entrepreneurship and working for someone else, it's technically just a mindset, as you can see. Entrepreneurship is definitely your... most people say that being entrepreneur means to be doing your own thing. But say if you are opening a marketing agency, technically you're also having a client, right? So technically you're also working for someone else. It's just a frame of mind as well. So even though you may not have a boss or whatnot doing your own business, your customers is your boss itself. So in a frame of mind, it's technically is the same thing. But the other difference is that entrepreneurship, you need to have your own, I will call it discipline, right? Because most of the time when I see my friends or say somebody who needs to have a boss to actually make them do their work, is because they lack the discipline. And if there's nobody telling you that you need to do your work, or you don't get paid, or you get fired, that's their motivation, as you can see. But as for entrepreneurship, if you already have the motivation to push yourself to do something that will be exchangeable for money, then definitely entrepreneurship is the way to go. But definitely, if you can't be an entrepreneur because you don't have lack of funds, we should go into it that later as well. Definitely, you can start working for someone else, but having the mindset of an entrepreneurship where you exchange your skills or your knowledge for terms of money, in that sense, then you are yourself as an entrepreneur yourself as well. Just treat them as if one of your anchor clients. Things like entrepreneurship, as what they say, if you're working for 20, 30 plus years, right, but then working on entrepreneurship for 5 years, people say working entrepreneurship for 5 years is very risky, but working for 15, 20 years for someone else, I would say that if you're working for 15, 20 years without a goal, that might be dangerous. But if you're working for someone 15, 20 years with a specific goal to do something, whether is it getting into investment afterwards, or doing into your own ventures, or learning the tricks or the trades of the trades, and then you can open your own business or otherwise later, then I'll say that is itself a entrepreneurship game plan as well. Yeah.
See,
So yeah, what's your view of entrepreneurship?
for me, for view on entrepreneurship, started was in college. By the way, Addie is more creative in general. Alden is more strategic in general. The both of us, the way we think is, I'm more right brain, and Alden is more the left brain kind of person. So back in college, I took advertising, and one of the reasons why I took advertising is because it's the closest thing to being able to create something out of nothing. That have always been one of the motivations in life for me. If I were to take any kind of work, I want to be in a position where I can create something, whether is it advertising, whether is it creating a new product. But back then, in a time where I was in college, everybody was looking up to people like Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody is like, you can just create an app, you can create a website, and next thing you know, you become a billionaire and stuff like that. Money is important, is one of the most attractive part of being an entrepreneur, but to me is more towards the somebody that is being able to create something that other people could use and impact millions or billions of people. To me, that's something that calls out to me that is a life worth living, as opposed some people who are employees, they hate their job, so they just wake up every day, they just work, and for a paycheck they go back, and then you ask them questions and what do they have about their future, what do they want to do, who they want to be. They are basically clueless. So for me, entrepreneurship is I bypass that by putting the purpose on creating good for the world, whether is it a product, whether is it a service, whether is it a movement. And it makes life interesting, because it's like for the three of us, we played games a lot, role-playing games. And games usually most of the time is like you do something and then you get rewarded, and then you do something, you get rewarded, and then you after that you create an impact one way or another. So for me, I visualize myself as, if I'm playing a game right now,
Game
what
of life.
what is Eddie gonna do with his life? And to be honest, anybody can do anything in their life. It's basically limitless. As long as you have a goal, the willing to do something, make a change, create a product, design something, that's life. Yeah, that's for me, that to me the essence of entrepreneurship, and what makes me go into entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Sure, let me I think I like how we immediately dive into entrepreneurship, and then it became something so refined and profound about the meaning of life, sort of, right? And I think there's a lot of similarities between entrepreneurship and your life goals, because at the end of the day, our life is a series of decisions and choice, and accountable actions, like what you say, like discipline too. That's all part, like how you want to live your life is based, like how disciplined you want that goal, etc. And I think whatever Addie have mentioned about what do you want and in life, and more particularly like what kind of value you want to bring to the world. I think I resonate with that. And what Alden said that particularly caught me is whether you spend your early years doing entrepreneurship, startups or whatever, and whether you end up working for someone for 10-15 years. If you're very clear about your goal to where you want to be, there's no right or wrong way. It's just like different timelines and processes to achieve something that you want. Yeah, and it's not to say that, okay, entrepreneurship is the end result. You can achieve entrepreneurship by working for someone too. Then there's there's concept of intrapreneurship.
Do something on the side, man.
Yeah, or side hustles
Side
now,
hustles,
right?
side hustles.
Multiple source of income. So I think today, like, there's a lot of different ways we can go down the route. But why don't we covered and have some sort of common ground on what you guys think about entrepreneurship, right? Maybe to create some more I wouldn't say credibility, but just more context to our audience out there, right? So can you briefly share about what you've done through this entrepreneurship process, whether you work for someone, whether you started your own different ventures, which you did, right? Yeah, maybe just one of you guys go through the whole journey, and then we can add on to that what's the upsides, the struggles and stuff, and if there's anything interesting that comes up, we can flip the switch and go deeper on that side.
Sure. I think maybe we can start off. Maybe Alden, you can talk about what you've done in your entrepreneurship journey, and then later we talk about the challenges.
Sure.
That's important.
Maybe just one more context before you guys dive in. It's like, okay, both Addie and Alden, they all have started their own venture. It became successful. It was successful, but they made a very calculated decision to pull out from whatever that they've built. And I think maybe later you can share different conflicts of the struggles. And right now I think both of them obviously they'd like to partner, but I think there's like a different thought process because both of them are at different life stages. Alden is married and stuff. So I know you can't tell from the voice, but if you look at the video, but it's not to saying that Alden's or anything, but yeah, they are now currently sort of like still doing very entrepreneurship related stuff, but not founded from their own. Yeah. So it's sort of an employer or a partner, etc. So I think you guys can continue.
Okay. Let me just start off first. When I first started working, right, I was working for someone else as in an advertising agency, and during the first 2 years, I'm basically hustling almost every single day. But then after that, I realized that I wish that I can do more, but it's because that's not my company. I cannot do the things that I believe that I can do, because most of the things you have to ask your boss, all the bureaucracy and stuff. But that doesn't stop me from thinking that, because I'm working for someone else, I cannot do something on the side. But when you are really passionate, right, I would say what Reynard or Wenjet said just now is very true, but technically you can be a millionaire based on the set of decisions that you take, and based on those kind of right decisions that you take, you can actually be a millionaire in the next 3 to 5 years itself, and that's very, very true. So it's because of that mindset I thought to myself that since why someone can become a millionaire and someone can build a business, why can't I? And that was the time where I said, I'm still young, I just graduated, why not let me just try? And that's where my entrepreneurship started. And because of that, I always be thinking about what sort of solutions that I can build to help other people, because that is the easiest and most fastest way to make money. What sort of solutions that you can build to help others that they will give you money for. Anything that we do, even entrepreneurship like Elon Musk or whatnot, right? Basically, we are all problem solvers that get paid. Okay? So that's how I started on being entrepreneurship, because the freedom of being able to create your own solutions and exchange for money. And then that's where we created our own business together, me and Addie. We created an app called Wave. It's a sound wave advertising business. And we spin off with other businesses such as music as well, together with partners and whatnot. In totality, we raised over about 5 million ringgit in venture capital and grants and funds in Malaysia itself. We've managed to partner with global businesses, and we went meetings with Hong Kong, we went meetings in India, we went meetings with Indonesia as well. We have quite a lot of interested parties here and there as well. So things were going really, really great, right? Well, entrepreneurship and all these things.
Yeah, back then I was like really proud friend, like wow. I mean, I'm still proud of you guys, don't get me wrong, but it was like wow, these guys are doing big things. What am I doing in my, back then I was still studying, because I think they really went out earlier on to hustle and everything. I was yeah, but at the end of the day, I think we learned throughout the different podcast episodes that we shouldn't compare with our peers, etc. But it's just very, very inspiring to hear what Addie and Alden have built, their entrepreneurship empire. Yeah.
Let me give you an insight here. This is a very, very important thing that most people don't realize in being entrepreneurship. Or maybe let's just throw the word out entrepreneurship. Let's talk about life, for example, right? Because
go deep.
Yeah, it's gonna go deep, real deep. Which is easier for you to achieve? Raising funds of 100,000 or 1 million? See? 100,000, is it easier to raise or 1 million? Obviously, most people say, of course, the higher one will be more difficult, right? 1 million will be more difficult. You might be amazed. You ask entrepreneurs who have raised 1 million at least, and they'll tell you that most of the chances raising 100,000 is much harder. Let me tell you this why. It is actually a frame of mind. Now, I'm not going to say that it's just because you have to believe yourself, the law of secret of life and all this kind of law of attraction. No, I'm giving you real practical things, okay? In raising 100,000, the competition is very large. Raising 1 million, the competition is very low, all right? If you have an idea, right, that you believe can impact a lot of people, try to go to the 1 million, try to raise as big as possible, because then you have lesser competition, especially if it's something new, something that no one have ever seen before. And I'm sure that if you have something that is really solvable and a solution that you can actually believe that people will pay for, then go into all those kind of grants, funds. For example, I'm giving you practical tips here. Go for Malaysia Cradle itself. You will win. Let me tell you what I mean by win. If you go and present there, you may not get the funds, it's okay. You presented your ideas, they will give you feedback on how to fine-tune those ideas. And those people who are willing to give you those kind of tips are people who are very, very experienced in the industry. Now, this is something that you will not learn from colleges or anywhere else.
No money is amount to the kind of feedback that they give.
Correct. And because you presented your ideas, it didn't work, it's okay. Me and Eddie presented so many funds and to grants and what, we all got rejected, it's okay. Because what you need is that feedback. Take that feedback, tweak it, come back again. The door is not locked, guys. The door is always open. You can come and pitch 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. When they already see you, you're here again for another presentation, go ahead. So the more you fine tune these kind of ideas, the more likely your idea to be more feasible, more likely for you to be able to raise that 1 million. But if say you want to pitch for 100,000, right? Most people say, where do I raise 100,000? The only best way to do it is go to banks, right? When you go to the banks to raise 100,000, what do they say? It's either a yes or no only. No feedback, no nothing. Are they really entrepreneurs? No, they are not. They are just bankers, you see. So this is another secret entrepreneur hack of life, right? If you really do foresee that there's a solution that you can solve, that people will pay for it, go and try to raise funds. Go to all those kind of grants, go for entrepreneurship presentations and stuff like that. You are not looking for the money first. You're looking for the feedback. Money will come later. And if, who knows, maybe you fine-tune it so much that when you pitch it and the person who's always been giving you the feedback and you're seeing him 3-4 times, chances are they see that, okay, you really fixed and you're really serious about that business, and this world is very small. Once they see that your idea and you really came back and fine-tune, chances are the person who might be giving you that 1 million would be the coach themselves. So this is something no one will tell you lah. Yeah.
I would like to add on what Alden said about being in the in the market of 1 million as opposed to 100,000. Well, honestly, we all know is it's easier to fail in a business than it is to succeed. Well, you can look at it in one way or another. For me, I take comfort that it's easier to fail because my competitor might fail also. And because of that, just do your best you can to succeed, you see. That's the whole frame of mind, you see. When it comes to entrepreneurship, right, let's talk about competitors. Like, we gotta see about how we differentiate ourselves, or what is your solution, the core of your solution. If it's a big enough problem that you can solve, and you can help solve a lot of people's problem, you will be able to tell, because people will be like cutting a path directly to you to give you money or buy your product or find ways to get to you. That's what they call in the entrepreneurship landscape, they call it the product market fit. So Alden mentioned about finding product market fit by talking to investors. I would like to add on another part about finding product market fit by talking to your consumers or your customers. That's the best way you can actually gauge whether they are willing to pay. For example, one of the ways you can actually gauge that you have product market fit is before you even have the product out, all you have is a deck where you ask them a question, will they pay even the product out? And you can see within their eyes, the eyes will just, it will just open and say, I don't care what, I pay you now. Get this product up for me. And then that's where you know you have a winning product. So most people say that you need money to start a business and stuff like that. I'll then mention about going for pitching, right? Actually, that's all you need. You need a pitch deck, how do you call, a product or a solution, even maybe a prototype. As easy as it is, it's just a concept. Get up into a presentation deck, start talking to people, verify the market. Then the next thing is try to find the right partners, the right team to actually build upon this, who share the same vision. If the product or the solution is big enough, you resonate with a lot of people. People see the vision, they will just want to hop on the bandwagon. Yeah. Okay.
Great stuff that you guys are really sharing. Yeah, I think I'm listening a lot. And just to give some context, right? Alden was mentioning 5 million ringgit, right? So just to convert it to US dollar or Hong Kong dollar is like just around double, so it's around 10 million Hong Kong dollar. US dollar is around 4 million, that kind. Yeah, it's divided by 3, that kind. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, really great insights. I think like Addie, Alden covered different aspects. Alden is really more from the financing side of things. Yeah, don't really restrict yourself, but of course you really have the hustler mindset, and not just hustle for no reason. Reiterate the wrong things, right? Really seeking feedback from different investors, different pitch, and then you learn and fine tune it. And I really like how Addie complimented on the side where at the end of the day your idea is also very important. Of course, funding is important, but the idea and validating it. And of course, you might spill over and get from the investors that but they might not be the end consumers themselves. So really validating, the pain point, whether there's sparkle in their joy and stuff. But I also wanted to ask more details. For example, Alden, you share you get a lot of feedback from the investors. What's the recurring common tips that normally people have give you after so many? Because you say this is investment hacks or entrepreneurship hacks, right? But what's some of the if our listeners can really gain, I'm sure they can gain out of it. What are some of the common tips that they always tell you?
Most important thing is you have to understand you are in a context of Asia, right? Asia, okay, I'm going to go right out here, okay? It's much easier for you to reference something that has been done in the Western market or international market. For example, we are building something like Uber, right? But probably in green color in Malaysia. What's that? People can immediately understand that, oh, you mean Uber, okay lah. So how the business model is like, they can easily understand that. Because know that when you're pitching, right, you only have a limited amount of time. So if you are trying something super new, most investors will say, what's your reference like?
It's not validated yet,
it's not validated. So I know lah, we do what Asian do best for now lah. Copy. Like for real, you copy, you reference it. investors are more likely to believe in you if they know that someone out there has done something similar before. The reason being here is that in Asia itself, other than the bigger ones like China and stuff, right, the limited number of funds is not as much as the Western market, or for example in China or bigger markets out there. They are not really willing to take a lot of risks. So if you're doing something that you are able to reference, they are more likely to fund you. The other thing is, of course, most investors ask the craziest question that sometimes I cannot answer, and you probably know about it. So if I put $1 here, how much do I get, right? Yeah. So those are kind of questions that you get. Well, this is how you can actually validate that, right? Firstly is, you never try, you never know. I'm telling you this. This is the best answer to them. You never try, you never know. That's why I'm raising fund here, so I can try. Probably in 3 months, I can come back with you a right data to answer that question, right? But if this, I'm talking about early stage, right? You have not started your company. But if you have already started your company, track every single metrics. How many you spend? How many customers you got? How much is the ROI? With all these numbers itself, you will definitely be able to raise funds so much more easier. Even some metrics doesn't matter, like what time do they buy, right? Some people say, oh, what time? 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 10:01. What does it matter? But it does matter actually, because you keep tracking all of this, right? Eventually you have the metrics, right? When most likely are people able to buy, how much they are willing to spend, and for example, how much revenue do they buy for every purchase. So these are all data you need to capture. So when you go to your investors, you speak to them, you are more likely to be able to gain their confidence because you have all these metrics already. Now, the other thing here is that, okay, this is another hack, right?
Many hacks today.
Yeah, main hacks, really, really practical thing. If you got no product yet, what do? Most people say, no, I need to bring out a product. Honestly, that is what I used to do. Waste so many time. Honestly, you say, sign up for the VIP list. Pay $5 first. Secure your seat. Then you know people are willing to pay for the solution. Then you know that, okay, you validated that maybe 500 people actually paid $5 to secure their VIP seatings or VIP list or VIP lane or whatnot. It's just about marketing words, you can see. Maybe you don't put VIP. Maybe you put exclusive list or pre-booking, right? Once you get this validated already, you can go investors, 500 people waiting for me already. And for me to fulfill this, I just need to build XYZ, or I need to package XYZ, or buy from China, repackage, and then send to them. So these are some of the ways that you can do. The other ways is that if you know people are going to purchase your product already, right? It's okay for you to pre-purchase. Why? You just need to tell them, the product will be fulfilled in the next 30 days or 60 days, right? You may not capture everyone because some people are scared, right? They don't want to buy, but you're still able to capture those people who are willing to wait 30 days to 60 days. One idea you can do that is cheaper, give you cheaper. After 60 days, I'm going to short up the price by 50%. So those are the kinds of things that you can do to validate and, get a little bit of money to actually fulfill what you need. So it's actually the frame of mind and thinking and the words you use as well. Back in entrepreneurship, right? See, entrepreneurship is a very big word. Startups is a big word. But technically, as I said, you're just problem solvers that get paid. What if, for example, right, you can get a product very easily from China, but then what you do basically, you buy from China, you repackage and sell to people. Is that entrepreneurship? Well, on my point of view, it is, because you're helping someone to solve the problem who needs the product. So this is also another ways that how you can raise fund or pre-sale. But of course, if you cannot fulfill, give back the money. Really refund. Don't take the money and run. I'm telling you, I'm seeing all this in NFT market, right? We call it, rug pulls and stuff. Please don't do that. Because if you are really going to do this for real business, right, you're actually putting your reputation in front, okay? People know your face. And if you're going to take the money and run, probably one time already, you have to go plastic surgery. So don't do that. Really, you got to do it right, I'll say. And if you've taken money from people and things doesn't work out, you just say sorry. And big brands make mistakes as well. The refund is actually a very common thing. When refund it doesn't work out, at least you can say sorry, okay, you refund that. Or the other way you can do it is that things may be a little bit delayed longer because we are shipping late and stuff like that. Give them extra bonus and stuff like that. That might actually help as well. Yeah.
Stay tuned for part 2. Thank you very much, Eddie Alden, for this. Alright, see you guys. Bye-bye.
By the way, if you guys want to know more as well, what you want to learn, you just put it down in the comments as well. Probably you might be able to come back as well.
Yeah,
So,
sure. Yeah.
Alright, see you guys. Bye-bye.